So this video is going to help those that couldn't do questions 4 and 5 on their homework. The questions looked roughly like this. This is the basic version where you have a power working on the terms inside a bracket. What's going on here is the squared is working on the 2 and it's also working on the x. Answer 4x squared. Another problem that you'll see on that question 4 would have been like 3x say squared and then everything cubed. What's happening here is what's inside the bracket is all getting cubed. So everything inside the bracket has to be written out 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. Because that's what the cube means. Multiply it by itself 3 times. And there are multiplication, everything's being multiplied together. With multiplication, the symbol is a, what's the picture, the image I've given you for multiplication? Blender. So everything gets shoved together when everything's multiplied. So 3 times 3 times 3, we can work that out. 27. And then we've got x times x times x times x times x times x. How many x's are being multiplied together? 6. So it's x with a little 6. Okay, so on the homework there was also ones with fractions in it, and the whole fraction was either squared or cubed. For this example, I'll just square the fraction. It is very similar to the very first question I did for you, this one here, where everything inside the bracket needs to be squared. It's the same with the fraction. The x squared, that has to be squared, and the 4 has to be squared. Okay, so the squared is working on the top of the fraction and it's also working on the bottom of the fraction. What's 4 times 4? Thank you. 4 squared is 16. X squared and then squared again. Remember, you can write it out twice because that's what it means. Okay, it's times x squared just means times by itself, and x squared is x times x, and how many x's are getting multiplied together? 4 of them. I think I'll just do one more like that. Okay, so we've got 4 times that bracket. A little bit more difficult. BEDMAS tells us to work with brackets first, then E stands for exponents, which is another word for powers. So we're going to work with what's inside the bracket, but we're first of all going to square what's inside the bracket. So the 4 gets a free ride. Don't touch the 4 just yet. And the top line, just as in this problem, the top line gets squared. I use brackets to show what is getting squared, and the bottom line gets squared. Okay, I've almost rewritten it exactly the same out again, only shifted where the square is. Okay, keep going. Again, 4 just carries on for the ride at the moment. Square the top line. So the top line, the 2 gets squared, and the x cubed also gets squared. Now remember, I can write that out twice. X cubed times x cubed, because it's being times by itself. Go to the bottom line, and x squared squared is the same as x to the power 4. I showed you that here. Okay? It's equal to x to the 4. So I'm just going to write that in there. Carrying on. The 4 is still enjoying a free ride. And I'm going to just work on those x cubes times x cubed. I could write it out longhand. I'm actually going to turn the 2 squared into 4, and I'm going to write out x cubed just means x times x times x times x times x times x. Okay, 6 of them. So I could cancel all those and just write a 6 there. Okay, so 4x6 over x4. Okay, and we can do a little bit of cancelling here. Because everything is multiplied, we've got some x's on the top of the fraction and some x's on the bottom of the fraction. Let me just write it out again for you. 3, 4, 5, 6 on the top, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom. Well, the x is 1x with 1x, okay? And you can see here there are only 2 x's left. Answer 16x squared. Do you see where the 16 came from? It came from the 4 times 4. If you weren't sure about that, you might want to think of this 4 as 4 over 1, and then you're multiplying fractions together. 4 times 4 and 1 times x4, and you end up with a 16 on the top of the fraction.